Before I begin this video, I just wanted to say thank you. In 3 months, we have come from this. This will be a quick review on the best ways to go about beating 4-color elementals with Merfolk, to this. So Burn might seem like a simple deck, but you might be surprised by a few tips to help you in the matchup. And I am so shocked to see that 1,000 people support what I am doing. So I'm going to do a giveaway, yet more information on that will be later on in the video. So let's get into these questions. The first question I was asked was, what got you into Magic? So this is going to surprise some people, but the main reason I got into this game was MTGA. Let me explain. So years ago, my dad and sister were really interested in the game. My dad played back in the 90s, but as he got older, he moved away from the game. But later on, he got back into the game. He got my sister interested in playing it, yet I never wanted to. But once they got Magic Arena, they spent forever playing Jank decks on the system. So I decided to spend time with them, and I learned how to play just by watching them play and asking occasional questions. I started building decks on MTGA, and I had so much fun using the system, and that's basically how I started. The next question is, who are you? What made you start playing MTG? Why Modern and not Commander? Why Merfolk over any other tribe? And what is your favorite archetype besides Merfolk Tribal? And do you follow Standard? Okay, so my name is Sophia, and now you know how I got into this game. So let's answer why Merfolk. So when I was fresh in this game, I was watching one of the prof's videos. He showed the card Master the Pearl Trident on screen, and as a Timmy, I thought that card was insane. So I wanted to play Merfolk so bad. I came up with this really jank Merfolk list, but I really wanted to play it. I was around 11 years old then, and I really couldn't afford it, so I abandoned the idea. Yet months later, I found Nikachu's channel, and after learning he was a Merfolk player, I thought that was so cool. So I started watching his gameplay videos after school for hours, and I learned so much about Merfolk in that time frame. I saved all my money, and after months, I had enough money to get a budgetish Merfolk deck, which I started playing at an LGS. And since then, I have just put everything I have into that deck, and I really couldn't see myself playing anything else. And I don't play Commander because I was always used to Standard, then Historic, then Modern. I didn't even know what Commander was until months of studying Merfolk, and by then I had no interest. My favorite archetype besides Merfolk is a tough question, yet a second deck I was thinking about playing was Death and Taxes. I realized I needed to put my money towards a better Merfolk deck, and affording a second deck was unreasonable, so I never played D&T, yet that would be my second favorite. And I haven't played or followed Standard for years now. There are so many other formats I would play before it personally. Which of the following cards do you think would be beneficial but not broken in Modern? Pick one. A. Back to Basics. B. Pyro/Hydroblast. C. Misdirection. Or D. Stifle. Wow, this is really hard because I want all of these in the format. Yet if I could only pick one, I think it would be Stifle. Stifle is a fair way to stall your opponents and deal with important triggers. It is, at this point, necessary for the format. Let's hope it comes in Modern Horizons 3 or something. Also, Wizards of the Coast never said they would do another Horizon set, but I think we all know there will likely be one in the future. Okay, the next question is, how much time and effort do you put into scripting and editing your videos? Well, one of the hardest things to come up with is a good video idea. Once you come up with the idea, it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. To explain how it isn't easy to brainstorm like that, I want you to think about a video MTG Remy would upload. You know, it's a magic-related skit or song, but it's hard to pinpoint what it should be about. After you get an idea, it's important to make the thumbnail first, and that can take anywhere between 10 minutes to an hour. Next, the script can probably take 30 minutes to write per page, and then you need to record yourself going over the script, and each page is around 4 to 6 minutes to read unedited, and 2 to 3 minutes edited, and every minute in my shorter style of content takes around an hour to edit with small breaks, and with all of my edits, I have videos with over 300 pages or splits, and so much of the process is boring, but it flexes your own creative thinking so you stay on task, and editing is so much more fun than other tasks since you really feel proud of what you made in the end. Okay, the next question is, do you have any pet card? Does not have to be a Merfolk, mine is Sarah Adventure. Sarah Adventure is a really cool pet card. Personally, I have only really put effort into Merfolk, so I really don't have a pet card. Yet, tell me what your pet cards are in the comments below.
Okay, the next question is, will you ever play another deck? So in the coming years, I will basically only be on Merfolk, yet I have been thinking about in the future making a side channel where I talk about Modern as a whole. Right now, it's just a side thought, yet I am taking it seriously, and I could experiment with other decks then, yet for a while the answer is no. Okay, so if you could design the next Merfolk mana cost 2 and 3, what would they look like? Abilities? Color? Well, this might sound dumb, but if I could make a 2-drop, I think we should just make Silvergill Adept with 1 more toughness, and maybe give it Flash, since Merfolk is getting better at operating at Flash speed. And for a 3-drop, I think we need some good protection. Maybe a Merfolk version of Kira. You would take away flying, but give some other upside like Island Walk. I don't know, and honestly, I'm not putting too much effort and thought into this, since those are good video ideas for potential future videos. And to really celebrate this occasion, I would like to do a giveaway. The prizes are a Retro Tideshaper, a dual deck Master the Pearl Trident, a Vodalian Hexcatcher, a Retro Swayloon, and most importantly, a Modern Horizons Force of Negation. To participate, all you need to do is leave a comment. After roughly 2 days of this video being out, I will randomly heart 5 comments. Those people can then email me to ask for their prize, and if they want, I can sign it for them before it gets shipped off. More information will be on a Google Doc in the description below. Okay, let's get back into the questions. Okay, so the next question is, do you think using a slower, more mid-range Merfolk deck using Brineborn Cutthroat and Deeproot champion-style grow effects with more counterspells and cantrips would be a good way to build the deck? Well, that's an interesting way to go about Merfolk, and I think I would need to see a full deck list to have an opinion, yet I don't know if this is a list that would play like a Merfolk deck. You just need to playtest it and see how it works, but I think it is worth trying. Okay, so the next question is just a general question. Which are some of your favorite Magic mechanics or abilities? So I haven't really thought about that. I mean, there are mechanics that I don't like, yet there isn't a mechanic I really like. I guess a fun one would probably be Clash when implemented correctly. Clash was also featured in Lorwyn, my favorite plane, so that's a nice bonus. Also, I really like the channel lands from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I think any mechanic can be really good when used in the right way, like the channel lands, but I will go for Clash because it seems like a fun one. What are you hoping from Ixalan in terms of Merfolk, and what changes do you think would need to happen for the modern meta for Merfolk to become more powerful? In Ixalan, I wanted to see a good 1-drop. The card would probably be in green, which is a bummer. I don't want it to be aggressive. I'm hoping for it to be more about tempo or protection. And if Wizards of the Coast prints another 2-drop Lord instead of a playable 1-drop, I'm gonna be somewhat upset. And for Merfolk to be good, I think Modern needs less removal, and for the format to slow down. If I take damage from Ravagon more than once, it shouldn't be game over. I want you to really feel the advantage from Swayloon's card draw and have the board state and time for Master of Waves to become relevant again. Yet with the increasing speed of the format, I think the best hope for Merfolk is to get a faster game plan while having good tempo. If you had to play a deck other than Merfolk in Modern, what decks or deck would you play instead? Also, are there any cards in the current Modern format that you want to be banned or unbanned? Doesn't have to be a good reason, either it could also just be that you hate playing against a card. So I went over the deck I would play other than Merfolk, but when it comes to banning or unbanning a card, I think we could ban Wrenn and 6. Wrenn defines how you build your deck, since if you have too many 1-toughness creatures, you're weak to Wrenn. And Wrenn 6 allows 4-color money pile decks to keep really risky hands and still do fine. I think Wrenn 6 is just controlling the format way too much in a bad way. Now, a card I think you could unban is Umezawa's Jite. First, you need to pay 2 mana. Then you need to equip it. Then you need the creature to connect. That is way too much to ask for, and the benefits are minimal compared to what you could get with the mana. And Stoneforge Mystic tutors better cards like Lion Sash, Culture Complete, and Batterskull. Creature-based decks have enough problems right now, and Umezawa's Jite is practically nothing. What motivated you to play MTG and Merfolk in particular? Do you play paper? One reason I started a long time ago with Merfolk was because it was easily portrayed across formats, any chance to see the channel grow beyond Modern. So I went over why I played Magic and Merfolk in particular. Now yes, I do play paper. I played paper Merfolk before I started using MTGO by several months, so right now my focus has been on Modern, yet most of you said you want to see Simic Merfolk in Historic, so I was thinking about in between leagues of Modern, doing doing historic merfolk content and seeing how that works out. Right now, I don't have a focus on other formats, yet in the future, I could venture into legacy merfolk, and I would do pioneer merfolk if that becomes a thing or is already a thing. Do you think Modern Horizons 1 and 2 were net positive or negative for the format? So Modern Horizons 1 and 2 had pluses and minuses. It's easy to only look at the downsides, but they did do some things right. The main thing is the free interaction. I know we all complain about force of negation, solitude, fury, endurance, etc. Yet they are there for a reason. We need to have free answers in a faster format. I don't think they should be abused with ephemerate, but that is a different discussion. Even though these sets have some issues, there are some good examples of cards that have pushed decks in the right direction, like Giver of Ruins and Yawgmoth. I know Yawgmoth is annoying sometimes, but you have to give credit to the Yawgmoth players. Their deck is only good in the right hands. There are overpowered cards that came from the set, but overall the changes were for the good in my opinion. Congrats! What are some of your favorite Merfolk Jank? Also, I'm super curious about your editing process. Well, my favorite Merfolk Jank is a good question. I typically just follow decklist to decklist, yet when Vodalian Hexcatcher was previewed, I brainstormed a fish deck, and it isn't that jank, but it could use some more playtesting. I was trying to build a Merfolk deck that operated more at flash speed, yet it focused on a more traditional build instead for my league. Next, for editing, a lot of you might be surprised to know I have just been using a free editing software on a browser. It's super easy to use, so I have stuck with it, and making the shorter content is a breeze with the software, yet gameplay tends to be rough. So I plan on learning how to use a new software fairly soon. When it comes to editing, I like to make sure everything is entertaining and feels fresh to watch, even if you know the concepts. Some videos are just for fun, and others are for people trying to get into the deck. Every time I mention a card, I always like to include it in the video, since as a newer player, I remember pausing a video, then going to MTG Scryfall to try to find it. I also have a lot of folders with all the downloaded cards. I have a folder for Merfolk cards, Fetch and Shocklands, Murktide cards, basic lands, and other random things. This makes it easy to find what I'm looking for, and in editing, it can take a while. I think I've been editing this video for probably over 10 hours now, yet I love doing it. The next question is, did anyone inspire you to play Modern? Well, yes, that would be Nikachu. Next up is, how long have you been playing Magic? So, for the record, I'm only 13 years old, and some of you remember when Master of the Pearl Trident was spoiled. I was only 6 years old back then, so I could have not been playing Magic for that long. I mean, I was not alive when Lorwyn came out. If I started when I was around 11, then I would have been playing Magic for around 2 years and several months, since my birthday is coming up. What's your favorite island art? Well, that's a hard question. I like both these island art personally. I know the Kamigawa ones look cool, yet they're not my personal favorite. I am running this island art in my paper deck, and this art for Magic Online. I like the islands that feel like islands, not necessarily what Kamigawa brought, yet it's all about preference. Well, thanks for watching. Remember, you can win any of those Merfolk cards with any comment, and I will see you around.